Hello there and welcome along to another MMA conversation for Sky Sports, reacting to Dustin Poirier's victory over Conor McGregor in their trilogy match. First round stoppage right at the end after a horror injury for the Irishman McGregor. Very pleased to say former UFC fighter. Once again, Mark Weir joins us to analyse this. Mark, good to see you. Thank you for your time. Have you recovered? What did you make of that? Spectacular 5 minutes, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like I was building up for it. Some of the fights leading up to it was getting me on the edge of my seat, especially the Sean O'Malley fight. If anybody's seen that, that was really, really entertaining. I did predict that if Conor comes out, the old Conor McGregor kick in, low kicks, side kicks, hook kicks, he did it, and back kicks. Great. He started off that way, but then for some reason, when Dustin Poirier closed him down, he tried to put on a guillotine, which I for a second I thought, has he been drilling with this or training with it? Has he got some new move? And then, that was a bit of a bad decision. But yeah, he got out of it in the end. Didn't he? He got back up, quick exchange, and the unbelievable happened.
Yeah, the broken leg. I mean, we'll get back to the tactics and where he took or tried to take Dustin down and do the guillotine, as you call it there. What do you think of the injury? Is that just a freak that you can happen? We've seen it in football on occasion, people just running and breaking their legs.
Yeah, but it happens quite a bit. Well, it's happened a few times. Anderson Silva, remember, on Chris Weidman. Then Chris Weidman had it. But the thing what got me, because I come from a kickboxing background, it wasn't kicking his shin, it was his thigh towards his knee. So normally that's quite safe. He wasn't checking it with his shin either. So he either had an airline fracture prior to the fight through training while he's drilling the kicks or something. It's very unusual, but it was the way he leant back on it. His ankle was faced a certain way, he put more pressure on his shin. Because if you look at when he steps back, his foot's not quite in the right position. I'm hoping he can recover from it because, mental wise, I know he's a strong person mentally, but if he comes back, he was looking. I got besides the guillotine and went to ground, he was looking really good. I thought.
Did you see big adjustments, Mark, from the second fight in January? Because you talked about his stance. People have talked about it being more of a boxing stance rather than his wide, light-footed karate stance that he rose up through MMA. Did you see him going back to more of that MMA style?
Yeah, we talked about this prior. Remember, we covered the last fight, and I said I didn't like the children around him, the wife, and he changed all that. He didn't see any of his family around him. Some of the antics, the talks about, Dustin Poirier's wife, and that was a bit over the top. But he's a bit more like the old Conor McGregor, focused, winding himself up as well. Getting mad. I think the more he lashes out at somebody, the more angry he gets about having to win. So he looks, even in the change room, he looks in a bad mood, like he can't wait to get out there. And that's the way he used to be. But is it a mask? Is he trying to act like he used to, or is he actually like he used to be? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Did you feel that it may have been forced, that he was saying things to try and reignite that passion that maybe he had before, or that fire that was there?
Yeah, because there's a total flip. Because last time he just couldn't be nice enough, backing him with his hot sauce and everything else, and then it suddenly just changed over. But I do think that Conor McGregor, he's got ability to knock anybody out. I don't think he's going to lose that yet at that age. A lot of people get into the prime round at early 30s anyway. So, but it's having a layoff. I think he didn't really have a warm-up fight, as you call it. They reckon that Donald Cerrone was, but that wasn't a warm-up fight. You need someone of a good level to push him. And if he comes back, I think he needs a couple warm-up fights, start getting that form back. If he's really hungry to prove a point, and then come back for that rematch.
So that's Conor. How good was Dustin Poirier? Do you feel that maybe he capitalised on that mistake, as you said, of Conor, of trying to put on the guillotine? Was that the changing moment in the fight, really?
Yeah, he's a boxer. His background is boxing, and that's how he got into the sport of MMA. He came into the gym, and he changed from boxing to MMA. So Dustin Poirier's got a very good hands. But I said in my interview prior to this, also I covered the fight on my own channel, and I said about Dustin is in close, multiple punches to take someone out. Conor is long, reaching, and along with his kicks, also his punches. And when he hits somebody, one or two can take you out. The difference in comparison. Now with Dustin, he wears a lot of guys down. He's very good at slipping, closing you down, even taking you down. And when he's in close, the grappling, it's on a world-class level. That's why it's really strange, again, saying how Conor McGregor went for a guillotine. That's giving him his game. That's giving him sort of like throwing his game plan out the window.
Do you think, when you look at Dustin Poirier, we know that Charles Oliveira is the champion of the division. We know Dana White said afterwards that he expects the quadruple match against Conor to happen, but he says, first of all, Poirier fights for the title. Is there a case that he's, even withstanding Oliveira, maybe the most pedigree lightweight out there at the moment? 2 victories over Conor McGregor the past 6 months, 2 over Max Holloway as well. He's got Justin Gaethje as a defeated opponent, Eddie Alvarez, Anthony Pettis, Dan Hooker. What do you make of that resume of Dustin Poirier?
Yeah, but Charles Oliveira, no one's really sort of found a way to cancel this guy out. He was there at the fight, and he looks like he lives in a lab, like working things out, like a bit of a geek. And but when he fights, he is very scientific, and he just makes things look easy. He's the best. Them two, I think, matching together, Charles and Dustin Poirier, I think it's going to be amazing. I think it's not a clash of styles. It's one of being really scientific, Charles Oliveira, and then he's got Dustin Poirier. He's going to try and grind him, try and put him into his sort of game, and I think he's going to try and close him down when that fight comes about.
Yeah, where do you see that being won and lost, that fight? Is it stand-up is what Poirier's remit, but you think Oliveira will try and take it down?
He can do every area. I think Charles, because Charles Oliveira's submissions are on another level. He's got a highlight reel of submissions, and he's very, very sharp. I think it's a bit risky trying to. Well, I know he likes it close. I think he's better trying to punch at a good distance, not to overly grapple with him, because Charles Oliveira's got a very good grappling game, which is unusual. It's not the usual guy you get in the gym. So if he's training like that, he might pull submissions, which he's never had guys pull on him.
What's your prediction for Oliveira Poirier before we move on quickly? Charles
Oliveira, I think he's a man at the moment. He's a champion, but he's just so unusual. That's why I like him. When I watch him, I can break people down and analyze him, but he wouldn't be a person I would like to put a guy up against. No. I'd have to see a few holes, but he seems pretty well rounded.
Well, we hope you do get an opponent against him, because that'd be a fantastic rise for one of your fighters if they can get to that level. What about the rest of the card? I know you talked about the welterweight clash, hadn't you? Wonderboy against Burns. How do you assess that? Because that puts the UFC in a little bit of a predicament, doesn't it? Because presumably they were trying to push Wonderboy towards a title shot at the age of 38.
Yeah, Wonderboy looked absolutely brilliant, and I got to admit, Gilbert Burns got a bit booed towards the end, but he did enough to win. He won the fight. It was nothing special. They did there's an old classic punching back and forth. I remember back in the Pride days, we got a guy called Don Fry, and it's kind of weird on a cage when they're exchanging punches. It's a real classic old UFC MMA days. But I think it wasn't really entertaining in a way of like seesawing. It's one strategy. He was getting side kicked, hit to chest, and all he was doing is a classic grappler against kickboxer, close him down, taking him down, and grinding him on the floor. But it's going back to the old, but he did enough to win. He knows that he can't play around with Wonderboy. He's Steve Wonderboy Thompson. He's like, his kickboxing record is phenomenal, and it just takes one or two, he can knock you straight out. So I think he did the smartest thing, which is just to close him down, take him down, and grind with him. Just a few punches, just dominate the ground a little bit.
And does that illustrate why Wonderboy perhaps wouldn't be a great candidate to try and tackle Kamaru Usman? Because that was a sort of dream scenario for purists, wasn't it? A clash of styles, but maybe the blueprint's there already for Usman to reign supreme in that matchup.
Yes, possibly closing that. Yes, definitely, I think so. But entertainment-wise, I think everybody want to see how he's going to cancel him out. Can he get past his legs? That side kick he got is unbelievable. So I think, when he looks at Steve Wonderboy Thompson, that would have been a good match to see what happened. We've already seen a Gilbert Burns, haven't we, fight? Now, so we know roughly what's going to happen next time around. There's a few changes, obviously.
Before you go, I wanted to ask you, do you think Conor McGregor returns? Does he take up the fourth match against Dustin Poirier? And if so, how do you see that going?
If he's hungry enough to prove a point, and I really do believe, in his head as well, that he could do it, great. But the motivation is hard because he's getting how many millions a year? It's not the money. He's made his name in the sport. It's whether he wants to set a standard, and he's going to have to climb the ladder again. He's gone down a step or two. So he's going to have a couple of rematches. It's like he's starting from, not scratch, but he's starting from mediocre. He's normally at the top of the ladder. Now he's about halfway down. I think if he's hungry enough to prove a point, great. But this is going to be how his wife talks to him and people around him, because that plays a very important part. Your coaches, where they say, look, just leave it there, mate, or go again, you got something to prove. Because he looked good, I reckon, coming out. But it's just when he tried to pull that guillotine, it's a bit unusual.
Yeah, highest earning athlete in 2020-21 in the world, apparently, knocked off Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. So he's got the money, as you say. Mark, great to speak to you as ever. You mentioned your YouTube channel. Just give us a quick plug of that, where people can find out more content from you around MMA.
Yes, I just put in Mark Weir. You'll find me on there. Put Mark Weir MMA even. You'll find me come up, and you can see what basically I talk about fighting techniques and everything else. Become more active on there now, getting a bit more time. But I've got fighters around in Cage Warriors as they grow. I want to also be plugging and talking about their strategy and how they're developing. Fantastic, Mark. Really appreciate it. Check out that content as well, and good luck with the training. I appreciate it's a long weekend with those fights through the night UK time. So great to have you here this Sunday. Thank you, Ed.